In this video, I'm going to do a basic overview of the command center geared for tire websites. So once you get logged into the command center, in the upper right-hand corner, we have the website drop-down selector where you can click on a preview link for your website. So if your website is still not live to the public, we will have your site up on a temporary domain name. That way you can view the site now before it goes live, and you can start making changes to the website too before you go live. Also on the website drop-down selector, we have the Publish Website Changes button. That's going to be the button you click on after you're done saving your changes, and that's what's going to send your save changes from the command center to the website. That's a button you're going to be using pretty frequently. Also on the main page of the command center, we have the quick links section. These are, in theory, some of the more frequently used functions in those different areas of the command center. So it's just a shortcut to getting in and changing out those merchandising slides on the home page. I'll come back to that later in more detail. The recently viewed section is going to display the recently viewed or recently used functions in the command center in your last or current session. Now over on the left margin, we have our navigation bar. The dashboard button, whenever you get away from the main page of the command center, the dashboard button is just going to bring you back to that main page or the home page of the command center. The store section of the command center allows you to add and remove the catalogs on your website with the catalog manager. And when you get to the catalog manager, it defaults to the active tab, and it may take a moment to load up here. And the active tab is listing out all the active brands for tires and or wheels. I just have tires on this demo site, but it's listing out each brand here. And when you click on a brand, it'll expand and list out the different types of tires for that brand. So let's say I don't want the commercial tires on my website. I can uncheck the box, save changes, and those tires will be removed from the site after publishing. And in a moment here, we should see a tab pop up saying the catalogs are updated. And if I click on that tab again, it'll collapse. So you can go through each tire brand on the active list and make sure you have the right types of tires displayed for that brand. If we need to enable one, just have to check the box and save changes. If we go to the Available tab in the Catalog Manager, this will list out all the available brands. If they're highlighted in blue and the box is checked, well, that brand is already enabled. So if we need to enable a new brand, we just have to find it on the list, like Yokohama, check the box, save changes, but we're not done there. Once this saves, we're going to go back to the Active tab and find Yokohama on the list, and it should say 0 enabled there. Let me collapse on Continental. So when we go to Yokohama, none of the types of tires are enabled, so I'm going to check off the passenger car tires, light truck and SUV tires, and save changes. Next, we're going to get into the Product Manager. And the Product Manager would allow you to search and pull up the products in your catalogs, tires and or wheels, and manage them. And by managing, I mean making pricing adjustments. I will not be getting into that in this video. That will be in a follow-up video. You can also exclude products out of the catalogs. Maybe there's certain tire wheel models you don't want to display. I will be covering that. You can also add products to what we call product groups. Those would be featured sections that populate on your home page, and you can add tires and or wheels to these product groups. They'll end up showing up on your home page. Great way to draw attention to items you want to promote on your site. So when we get to the Product Manager, we have these different tabs you can use to search for your products with. Well, I'm going to focus on the catalog e-commerce tab. That's the one I use most frequently here in the product manager. And here it's listing out the different brands that I have enabled in the catalog manager. So I could check off Bridgestone, for example, and hit search. And on the results, it's going to list out all the different types of tires for Bridgestone. That will be the light truck and SUV tires, passenger car tires, and any other types I have enabled, like commercial tires. Well, I actually want to get more specific, so I'm going to do a new search. And instead of checking the box for Bridgestone, I'm going to hit the blue arrow, not once, but twice for Bridgestone. And now I'm going to check passenger car tires. So when I hit search, instead of pulling up all the types of tires, it'll just be the passenger car tire list. And let's say we don't want some of these tires to display on the website. So you can take one or multiple and mark them as selected. And then you would move on to edit selected products at the top of the search results list. And it's going to bring up a new window. And in that new window, I'm going to toggle to exclude selected products. Check the box, yes, exclude selected products from my site, and I'm going to save changes. And once the results refresh here after saving, I'm going to point out the excluded column here. And if it says yes in that column, then those tires have been excluded and won't actually display on the website. If it says no, then those tires have not been excluded and they will display on the website. So even if tires have been excluded, they will still show up here in the command center. And you can take tires that have been excluded and mark them as selected and edit and enable them, which will turn those tires back on. Now I'm going to take a handful of random tires off of this list here, and we're going to add them to a product group. So I want to get a good list going here. And we're going to edit those selected tires, but this time we're going to add them to a product group. And here it's going to list out the two product groups that I have set up in the command center. We just set up two of these groups by default, clearance items and featured items. You can add up to 50 products to each group. The product groups will not populate on your home page until you add products to them. You can mix and match products from different brands and or catalogs and add them into the same product grouping. So we're going to add these Bridgestone tires to the featured group, and we're going to save changes. I'm also going to publish changes this time. So you could publish your changes after each save, or you could make a series of save changes and just publish once. And now I can go back to the website, and when I refresh on the home page here, we should see our featured items group populate. And again, you can add up to 50 items to a group, but it's only showing the first 4 on the home page by default. And if you have more than 4 items in your group, the View More link shows up automatically, and that'll bring you to that group's page where it lists out all the items you have in that group. So again, the clearance group is not showing up on the home page because I haven't added any products to it. Otherwise, it'd be clearance and then featured and would push that footer down even further. Back over in the command center, if we go under the product manager here to product groups in the store section, this is where you can customize the groups that you're adding products to. And you can change the name or the title of the product groups. Maybe you want to retitle it to featured passenger car tires. Or maybe you want to do it by brand and have it be featured Bridgestone tires. So you would just type in the title here, hit save changes. You can also add more groups and use as many groups as you want. Again, we just set up 2 by default. Each group has an edit button off to the right, and that'll pull up a list of the products that you currently have in the group. And you might want to rotate out the top 4 every now and then. So here on this list of the items in the group, you can click down on these icons on the left and do a drag and drop to change the order. or you can click on the move to top arrow and it'll move it to the top of the list. And again, you would save, but you can also remove items from the group here as well. So you would just have to mark them as selected and then click on remove selected from group. Wouldn't be removing those items from the website, just out of that product grouping. So again, that was the store section of the command center, and we focused on the catalog manager and the product manager as well as product groups. The user section of the command center is where you can go in and change the username and or password that you log in to the command center with. You also have the ability to edit the accounts. So you could go in and add other accounts for other users to log into the command center with. You can delete accounts after the fact. You can even edit the permissions on the accounts and can control what functions people have access to on the command center. So maybe we don't want someone to go into that store manager and edit catalogs, so we could highlight and remove those permissions, for example. That'll bring us into the site content section of the command center. And if we go under edit pages to edit site pages, it'll pull up our page list. And on this page list, if we click on home, for example, we can go in and edit the primary content area on the home page. That would be the welcome paragraphs. So if we hit the edit button off to the right for the primary content, it'll bring us to the editor window. And it's pretty easy to edit text in that editor window. And the toolbar has all your standard font adjustments, bold, underline, change your font size, font color, and a few other goodies as well on there. I'm going to back up to that page list. Might want to edit the company info or about us page on your website. So on my site, I have it titled company info. And again, we can go in and edit the primary content. It'll bring us to our editor window. And you can also work with images in the editor window. You might want to add a storefront image to the About Us or Company Info page. So on the toolbar, we have our media browser. That'll pop up a new window. And here are some images I've already uploaded into the media browser. But we could go from the Browse tab to the Upload tab and then click on Select Files. And you would then be able to browse to wherever you have those images saved on your computer to select for upload. Once the image is uploaded, you can go back to the Browse tab, select the image you want to insert into the editor window, and you will get some sizing options. So you can go with a recommended size, the original size it was uploaded at, small size, or even a thumbnail size. You could even go with a custom size and type in the dimensions manually. Once you set your size, you'll click on Insert Selected. It'll drop that image into the editor window. You also have alignment buttons on the toolbar, so we could center the image. Or another way to resize the image is once you've inserted it into the editor window, you can then click on it, and at the bottom right corner, you can click down and do a drag and drop to resize. And of course, you would save when you're done. I don't actually want to save these changes, so I'm just going to back out, and I'll leave that company info page how it was. I'm going to back up to the page list again. You can also pull up pages and turn them on and off. I can see the customer reviews page on my website is inactive. So I'm going to click on the customer reviews page, and I don't need to edit the primary content, but I want to mark the page as active and save, and that'll now turn that page onto the website. Now I'm going to move on here in the site content section to edit navigation. And this would allow you to edit the navigation bar on your website. That would be the primary navigation bar. You might want to change the order or the sequencing of these going across. You could add pages to it. You could remove pages from it. You can even adjust the drop down or child pages in the navigation bar. like how staff shows up under company info. So here on Edit Navigation, it's listing out all the primary tabs like Home and Shop by Brand, but also the child pages like links and coupons that are showing up under Home on the website. Well, I'm going to click on Hide All Children, so I'm just looking at the primary tabs in the navigation bar, and I'm going to add a new page to it. I always like to suggest to people to add the map page to the main navigation bar. So I'm going to click on New Navigation Link, and here in the link location or site page, you have to just start typing in the title of the page you want to add and select it from the drop-down palette. And I'm going to save. I'm going to hit the little edit button off to the right to collapse that. So now we can see map is going to be on the top of the list. So the top one would be the far left going across on the website. The bottom one would be the far right. And you can change the order just by doing a drag and drop. So I want map off to the far right. We'll save again. Now I'm going to show the child pages for Home. And I've decided that I don't want links to show up under Home in the navigation bar, but I'd rather have it under Company Info. So here I'm going to hit the X off to the right, click on Delete. It's not actually deleting the page. It's just removing it from under Home in the navigation. Now I'm going to click on the plus child link button for Company Info. Now I'm going to type in the title of the page, links list. I'm going to select it, but I don't want the page to show up as links list in the navigation bar. I'm going to have that changed to recommended links. So you can change the title as well of pages, and we'll save on that. And you can also change the order of the drop-down pages. So I want events to show up first under company info. Oops, dragged it up too far. So now I have events. Then I'm going to go with gallery. Then staff. Then recommended links, customer survey, and contact us. We'll save that and publish. So now we've got map in the navigation bar. And that'll make it easier for people to see where I'm located to come in to get their vehicle serviced or get some tires and wheels. Also can see the child page sequencing adjust under company info. Moving on here in the site content section, if we go under structured content, there's a few structured pages here you can update on your website, like the coupons page. All we have to do is hit the edit button off to the right, and that'll bring us to a page where if there's already coupons uploaded, they'll be listed out here for you to turn on and off with the active box. Maybe you want to turn it off for a month and then turn it back on later. That way you don't have to delete it and recreate it. However, you can delete coupons out of there. The edit button would allow you to go in and edit the details and change the title or the exemptions or the description or the end date. If we need to add other coupons, we would just be clicking on Add Item, check the Enable box, and add the info to the proper fields. If you do put in an expiration date, it's not required, but if you do, the coupon will turn off automatically on that date. So after you plug in your details, the system is just going to structure that information into a coupon for you. Each coupon is going to have a printer icon built into it that pops up a printable version in a new window, and it'll add your company name to it as well. Now under structured content, we're going to go to the links. So this would be a page of recommended links to other websites. So maybe you want to put a link to tiresafety.com or ASE.com. Maybe you support a couple local charities and you want to put links to those websites. So off to the right, we'll hit the edit button, Here's the two links I already have in there. I can edit or delete. I can even change the order they're sequenced on the page by doing a drag and drop after clicking on those icons. If we need to add a link, click on Add Item, enable it, put in the title, put in the link location. That would be the website address. You could also add a description, not required. And then on your links page, it'll list out those links, and when you click on the address, it'll bring it up in its own new tab or browser window, depending on your browser configuration. But that way, the end user isn't completely pulled away from your site. They close out that new site, they're back to your site. Now we're going to go under structured content here to staff. Same process as links and coupons. We'd be able to go in and hit the edit button off to the right. Here's a list of the two folks I already have on the staff page. Again, you can edit, delete, or to add someone, you would click on Add Item. Again, you would enable it, put in their name, title, or position, a little bio about the person. You can even add their photo. You don't have to, but if you are, you would just have to browse and upload off your computer. You do not have to size the image with this. It'll size it for you, and it's meant to be a headshot. So back on the website, if we go to the staff page, you'll see that it's adding the photos off to the right. Details will be over on the left. We also have a gallery page under structured content, just a page for photos. People add store pictures, customer pictures, project they've worked on, maybe for lift and lowering kits. So you'd be able to go in and edit. Again, you'd be clicking on Add Item, and it brings up the file browser to browse and upload images. So then on your website, go to the gallery page. It's putting all those photos in a gallery style format so people can arrow through those or go off the thumbnails down below to scroll through those different photos in the gallery. Now we're going to go to hours of operation under structured content. Hit the edit button off to the right. And you could list out each day individually, or some folks will, if they have the same hours Monday through Friday, they might lump it together. But off to the right, you could hit the edit button for a day or a group of days and change the opening and closing time. If you're closed on a day, well, all you'd have to do is plug in closed for the opening time, and on the widget on your website, it'll list out those days and hours or say closed. Now I'm going to go to events under structured content, hit the edit button off to the right. Again, you'd be clicking on Add Item, and you would enable it, put in your event title, start time, date, or both, and then you have your editor window to add whatever text or images you want to display for that event. So then on your events page, it's just listing out the events, the title for it, the date, or time, or both. And when you click on the event, it'll go to the editor window with that event information. Again, any text or images you want to display. So that's it for the structured content section in site content. Now I'm going to go to the service manager and configure available services. And here it's going to pull up a list of all the services I have on the site. So let's say you don't want a service on. All you have to do is click on the X and it will remove it. It's not actually deleting the service for good. You could go back to the top of the list and click on Add Preloaded Services. Will bring up a new window. Here's the other preloaded services that are not enabled. So you can check off as many of these as you want and add them. Let's say you want to change the information on a service page. You would just have to click on the title for that service and it pops up your editor window where you could put in a price if you want, but that is not required. And then you can make the changes and personalize the content on that specific service page. And again, you would save when you're done. That'll bring us to the configuration here in site content, or the location information. That's going to default to the details tab here, and that's going to have your company name, street address, phone numbers. And then if we go to the sales and lead management tab, this is where you would plug in what email address you want the notifications to go to when the forms are filled out on the website. So you have to have a primary in here, and you can only have one email address in the primary field. But you can add other emails to the carbon copy field, and you could even add multiple email addresses in there. You would just have to separate them with a semicolon like the example shows you. So very important to have those leads and notifications going to the right email for follow-up. But in addition to that email, if we go into the leads section of the command center, you can view and print out the leads from here. So if we jump into quote request, I have an example in here, and it's just listing out the basic details from that form or lead. And off to the right, there's a view or print button. And if we hit the view button, it'll pull up all the details so you can see what tire was being looked at when this quote request form was being filled out. People can even plug in their purchase time frame, change that from immediate to a week to a month and so on. Contact info is going to populate, like name, email address, phone number. And then if folks go through the tire fitment guide, you would see that vehicle information display on there as well. So that's the lead section for following up with the forms or leads. If we go into the promotions section, we have the factory promotions tool. There's also a factory's promotions page on the websites. And it's going to list out the brands here that are currently running national rebates or promotions. And it's going off of the catalog manager. So if any brands you have in the catalog manager are running those rebates and promotions, when we get the data for those, we turn those on automatically to our customer sites, and then we'll turn them off automatically as well when the time comes. But we have to give our customers the ability to exclude these promotions or turn them off in case they don't want them on. So back in the command center, factory promotions, if we click on edit promotions, it'll list out those promotions that are currently displaying on the site. And if you don't want it on, you would just have to check the exclude box, and then it won't display after publishing. You'd really only be going in here to exclude the promotions you don't want on. That'll bring us to the Surfwatcher, which is a reporting tool. And unfortunately, I'm not getting a lot of traffic to my demo site, but I think you'll get the idea of what's going on here. It defaults to this breakdown tab, and that would give you an idea of how many people got to your website by direct URL. That would mean they typed in your website address, went off of their favorites or a bookmark, or even an email with a link to the website. Then you'd be able to compare that against how many folks got to your website through search engines like Google and Yahoo. It'll also list out the top 5 referring domains here. So if there's other websites out there that are linking to your ARI site, you'll see the top ones list out and see how much traffic they're pushing over. Pretty common to see social media sites on there, or even manufacturer sites, because they have dealer locators. People can put in their city and zip code and then possibly get a link to your site. If we go to the visitor breakdown tab, that would give you an idea of how many people were new visitors or people with 1 visitor, how many people were frequent visitors or people with 5+ visits. You can also see the top 10 pages getting viewed, so it'll list out those top 10 pages. Pretty common to see index show up on there. That's actually the home page. If we go to top e-commerce product views, that would actually list out all the products getting viewed on your website for that reporting period, tires and or wheels. So it would list out those model names and off to the right how many views. And the top search terms tab, that would list out the search terms people are using to get to your website through search engines. So pretty handy reporting tool there with the Surfwatcher. The sitemap lists out all the functionality of the command center on one page. So it's just another way to get to a lot of the tools I was showing you, like coupons and staff, or the catalog manager, or the location information, or even the leads like contact and quote requests. The documentation tab will allow you to get to our help documents, and there's a search bar to search for help guides, or you could even browse by topic. Another way to get to editing pages or functions on your website is to use the search bar. So we could go into the search bar here and type in catalog manager and get right to that, or maybe we want to update the text on the home page. So we could start typing in home and choose it off the search palette and go in and edit that primary content area. Or maybe we want to quickly update the staff page. So we could go in and edit our staff members. So that search bar can be pretty handy. If you don't know where it's at in the navigation, you can get to it in the search bar or go off of the site map. That's going to bring us back to the dashboard. I want to cover one other tool with you, and that would be the Manage Merchandising slides. And when we click on Manage Merchandising slides, it's going to pull up the offer queue. And here you can see I have a few slides that are active, and those are currently showing up on the website. And then I have one that's scheduled to start in 16 days for the 4th of July. So if you don't want one of these slides on, all you have to do is uncheck the box and hit save, and it'll remove it. You can also change the order of the slides by doing a drag and drop. The top one on the list will be seen first when you hit the site, and it'll scroll through those slides on the home page. Excuse me. If we click on Predesigned Offer, it'll pop up a new window, and it defaults to the Brand tab. So here it's listing out all the different categories we have for brands. And when you click into one of these categories, it'll list out all the different slides that we have. And each slide has an Add to Offer Queue button. And when you click on Add to Offer Queue, it'll give you a timeline option. So you can have it run indefinitely and then stay on there until you turn it off manually. Or you could put in a start and end date, and that slide would turn on that date automatically and turn off automatically on the end date. And then you would hit save when you're done, and it'll add it to the queue. So again, it defaults to the Brand tab in the Pre-Designed library. But if we go to the Offer Groups tab, there's a bunch of categories on here for services and holidays and a bunch of other fun stuff too. And some of these slides are discount themed, or they'll have a price on there, say free, or maybe have an amount off. When you go to add those slides to the offer queue, again, you have your timeline option, but you can also have them linked to a coupon on the coupons page, and you can edit the coupon details right from here. Maybe we want to add the exemption, must present in store. So if I were to save on that, it would add that slide to the home page, and when you click on it, it would link to a coupon on the coupons page to print out. So that's what I would call a basic overview of the Command Center. If you would like to get a more detailed session down the road, please contact our technical product support team for scheduling. They're available at 866-880-1615. Thank you for your time.